Welcome to another edition of the Haunted Hangover vlog. I'm Louie, and I got a chance to check out the Haunted House of Hamburgers located in Farmingdale, New York. Now, what is the Haunted House of Hamburgers, you ask? Well, I've got a little excerpt here that they have up on their website, and I will read it to you right now. Here at Haunted House of Hamburgers, we love Halloween and hamburgers, so why not have them both every day? We are proud to serve delicious hamburgers, mouth-watering appetizers, fresh green salads, hot soups, and so much more. So in a nutshell, it's a year-round Halloween-themed restaurant. Both Manny and Chris, members of the Haunted Hangover squad, told me about this place. I did not know it existed, and it's still fairly new. It opened up in October of last year, 2022, so at the time of this recording, it's only been around for half a year, not even a full year yet, so we're still very early into 2023. And when I heard about it, I said, you know what, I have to check this place out. It took some time because I kept hearing people tell me how crowded it was during the Halloween season last year. And that's when I originally wanted to go, but I just heard it was insane. And just like the wait times were crazy, and I didn't want to deal with any of that. So I said, you know what, I'll wait a few months and then eventually check it out and then jump on here and talk about it. Now, one of the first things you'll notice when you arrive at the Haunted House of Hamburgers is that it's an actual haunted house. You know, all the windows are blacked out. It's a dark color. It looks kind of spooky. It almost looks like a haunted attraction, which I thought was really cool. They have some photo ops outside, 2 benches. One has the Frankenstein's monster. The other one has the Bride of Frankenstein. One of them's drinking a soda. The other one's eating a hamburger. You could sit there, take a picture with them. I saw a couple of jack-o'-lanterns in the windowsills. There was a werewolf statue. My favorite thing, too, about the sign, which I thought was cute, is the logo of the Haunted House of Hamburgers is literally a haunted house with ghosts coming out of it holding cheeseburgers. Really, really just funny, and it fits the theme perfectly. One thing I give them a lot of credit for is they actually have a faux graveyard or cemetery in front of the restaurant, and you could walk through it, and all the tombstones say funny little things, little like making fun of stuff, and it's not actual names. It's just like talking about being hungry and this funny stuff that I'm not going to repeat here. I'll put up video footage of it so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I just thought that was awesome. You know, I've said it before. We don't have a lot of stuff like this in New York when it comes to year-round Halloween establishments that aren't not haunts, because we do have a couple of haunts that do run throughout the year for special holidays and stuff, but this is, as of right now, open all year round. So I just think that's really cool. So one little thing I want to mention before I talk about what's inside of the Haunted House of Hamburgers, or what it looks like inside of the Haunted House of Hamburgers, I do want to mention that my wife and I tried to go to this place a few weeks ago, and it was a little overwhelmingly packed. Like, we couldn't even step in. So we didn't want to wait for it looked like we'd be waiting for 2 hours. So we turned back and went to eat somewhere else because we were just like, all right, this seems a little chaotic. It was a Saturday, so that makes sense that a place like this would be very crowded on a weekend. When we went this time, it was also Saturday, but for some reason it wasn't as crowded. And we walked right in where the host is, and we only waited, I'd say maybe 25 to 30 minutes. So the wait wasn't terrible. Now, once you're inside, the best way I could describe the interior of the Haunted House of Hamburgers is literally blacklight, neon, like images of spooky Halloween stuff all over the walls, and black lights lighting them all where they're glowing. It almost reminds me of an old like carnival dark ride, what you'd see inside of them, or even sometimes on the outside, the airbrushed images. That's what it kind of looks like, but just glowing and lit with black lights, which I can appreciate. Like, I enjoy that aesthetic, so I thought it added to the entire ambiance of the restaurant. I also noticed that they did some sort of, like, there were little themed sections, I guess. They were small, though. Like this corner was themed after spider, like a spider web, and there was a cocoon where I guess spiders were, supposed to be, I guess, spider eggs or something like that. Then they had another area which was like a witch area, and there were broomsticks on the walls and hats, and they had a mad scientist. So they did try to make each section of the restaurant have its own little theme where you're sitting. And there's also a bar, which they call the Vampire Bar. I pulled that off of their website. I did not know it was called the Vampire Bar. It does make sense now that I think about it, because there was an image of a Bela Lugosi style vampire right behind all the liquor. And probably the one thing that put a smile on my face when I was inside, because again, the outside was phenomenal, was they had a giant glowing sign that said "Every day is Halloween." So they're really, when it comes to the love for the holiday, they're really pushing it when it comes to this restaurant. Whoever owns this restaurant, because I don't know the person that owns this restaurant, maybe they'll watch this video. I give you guys a lot of credit. You guys love Halloween. So it shows with the restaurant and just the way it's all set up. One more thing I want to mention is that this place is definitely family friendly. There isn't anything scary about it. There isn't any gory images or severed, like you don't walk over to a table and there's like a severed limb on your table. There isn't any of that. I saw a bunch of families. I saw kids. So you could bring anyone to this place. The closest thing to something frightening or something that maybe is a little like, ooh, that's spooky, is they have a couple of those animatronics that you'd see at Spirit or Party City. They had a couple of witches by the restrooms. They had a mad scientist guy getting electrocuted, spiders, things like that. None of it was, no one walked into this place and was taken back like, oh God. So if that's what you're expecting, you're not going to get that. Now, the main thing at any restaurant is food. And I want to give a quick disclaimer. I've talked about it on the podcast before. I'm a strict vegetarian. So is my wife. So I really can't rate their actual burgers. There's no way for me to tell you if their cheeseburger's great and the beef is great quality, because I don't eat that stuff. The menu's made up of primarily burgers, sandwiches, flatbreads, soups, salads, things like that. Stuff you'd see at a regular maybe diner. That's the thing I can compare it to. I did see they had a brunch menu, so if you decide to go earlier in the day, which I'd like to do, you can have pancakes and waffles and eggs and stuff like that. I'm not vegan, so I do occasionally have a little cheese, or I'll have a product that has egg in it. So I was able to get something at this restaurant. I got an Impossible Burger, which I'll be very honest, I'm not a huge Impossible Burger guy. I like my veggie burgers made of vegetables where you can see that there's like beans and broccoli and stuff in it. I prefer those type of veggie burgers. But yes, I got an Impossible Burger with grilled onions and mushrooms. It came with fries. My wife got the same thing, an Impossible Burger, but hers was a blue cheese one. She likes her cheese, so she got blue cheese on it. Hers also came with fries. We got no appetizers because it was like mozzarella sticks and things like that. So we just said, you know what? Let's just get the Impossible Burgers because this is a burger place. Because originally I was going to get a flatbread, but I was like, nah, that makes no sense. Let's get a burger because this is the Haunted House of Hamburgers. They also have cocktails, and they're themed cocktails. I got the Frankenstein, which is ginger ale, pineapple juice, tequila, blue curacao, lemon, lime, and orange slices. So it's a green drink to match the color of Frankenstein. My wife got the Vampire Bite, which was light rum, orange juice, blackberry brandy, and strawberry puree. Hers was red to match blood and vampire. They were okay, a bit sweet for my taste. I'm not a big sweet cocktail guy. But whenever I go to any of these themed restaurants, I have to get a themed drink because I think it just goes to the territory. Like that's one of the main things they're pushing. But yeah, I just usually stick to having like a beer or some sort of like tequila, like maybe a margarita, but something a little less sugary. But that's just a personal preference. I did like how the cocktails so. To fit the theming, they added a Frankenstein head peep on mine, and on my wife's drink, they added a pair of fangs, like just these gummy fangs in the cocktail. I think there was like a toothpick through them just a nice little touch to kind of make the drink feel special and feel Halloween-y. So I can appreciate them going that far with it. They did offer to make the drink smoke and bubble for $2 extra. But I'll get into that in a minute. We decided to not get the bubbling smoky drink for the extra $2 each. So the burgers were good. They're Impossible burgers. I've had them before. Mine with the addition of the onions and the mushrooms was tasty. I added a little hot sauce on it. That's always good. The fries were okay. They were a little cold when we got them. Maybe they were sitting on the tray area. I don't know restaurant lingo, but they're maybe like waiting area where the waiters bring the food to you. Because they were a little cold, but it's French fries. I enjoy most. It's kind of like pizza. There's no such thing as shitty pizza. So there's no such thing as shitty French fries. These were still pretty good. The service was also great. Our waiter was excellent. We didn't wait long for our food. I think altogether we were only in the restaurant for an hour, and that's because we took our time eating and having our drinks and stuff. The one thing I will say about the Haunted House of Hamburgers that's sort of a con, and I don't like to be negative in any of my videos or on the podcast or in my haunt reviews. I don't like to be negative, but I will say this place is a little overpriced. So my wife and I got the 2 burgers and 2 cocktails, and our bill was like $100 with a tip and all that stuff. It was around $100, maybe slightly over $100, which is kind of crazy. We didn't get any appetizers or anything extra. It was literally 2 hamburgers, 2 cocktails, and then water. And that's kind of crazy. Like, I get it. I live in New York where things are usually very expensive, but I've been to other restaurants in Queens, Brooklyn. I actually, time of this recording last night, went to a spooky themed tavern bar, which I might in the future put together a vlog for as well. And our bill was about $30 less, and we got an appetizer. We each got an entree. My wife got 2 drinks. She got 1 cocktail that's themed as well and Prosecco, and I got a huge beer, and our bill was $70. So this place is not cheap. The cocktails were about $17 each, and there's actually other cocktails that cost more. I saw one cocktail, I think it was like $19, $20. So yeah, not a cheap place to dine, where you're getting hamburgers and pizza and flatbread. So I thought that was a little strange. Maybe they could lower the price on the cocktails, maybe down to $14, just because I thought $17 for a spooky themed cocktail that was really sweet, to me, is a little overpriced. So in a nutshell, I think the Haunted House of Hamburgers it's a good place to take your family. Like, if you're 8 years old and you want to have a birthday party and invite all your family members, the Haunted House of Hamburgers is perfect for that. If you're going on like a Tinder date or it's your first date, I do not recommend going to the Haunted House of Hamburgers. It's not that type of establishment at all. I wouldn't even say it's the type of place you just go to and hang out at the bar, because again, the price of the cocktails was a little astronomical. But the aesthetic, the effort that went into the actual decorations and the look of the place is on point. If you're in New York and you're watching this vlog and you're watching my vlog / review, because that's technically what this is, and this sounds like a place you want to check out because you love Halloween, I'd recommend it simply because of what it is. And because if you love the holiday and you love horror, this is a place that you're going to love just kind of being in. And if you love hamburgers, if you eat real hamburgers, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So that was my experience at the Haunted House of Hamburgers. Be sure to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, @Haunted Hangover. Also, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/Haunted Hangover 31. And as always, remember, the best cure for a hangover is more booze. Catch you guys later.